Alright, so we're going to be into game number 4. It's currently 2-1 in favor of LaG Gaming, or LaG Gaming, as you can call them. But Zavi bringing it back for Team UR, and is this him? No, it's not. But the new player for Team LaG Gaming is going to be NightinSeoul, and he will be the red Zerg spawning in the top right. In the bottom left is going to be Zavi as the blue Zerg, who just took a game off, getting the ball rolling once more for underrated gaming. And, well, we're back on Daybreak. I really didn't assume that it was going to be 3 times. I thought 2 max, but I guess I was wrong. So as long as it was the first map, you could just choose it all day long, apparently. Which means that it's not a Hana, it was actually the veto. But Daybreak. What is good on this map? What is good? Not really sure, couldn't tell you. I feel like it leads itself to some very typical DBZs. Nothing really like, oh, there was this one game, or oh, there's one build that comes to my mind, at least. Maybe you guys know something different, but actually, no, there is one build that comes to mind, and that was the Idra versus Nesty, where Nesty drone pulled and 6 pulled him. That was good. Good as in horrible, because at the time I was a really big fan of Idra. I've gotten a little disenchanted with him over the year. I was gonna say years, but it hasn't been that long. But looking back on it, that was good times. We have a 14 pool, or 15 pool. 15 pool for NightinSeoul, so just open it up with a lot safer stuff. You could still, of course, expand off of this, just a little safer, but Zavi doing almost the exact same thing, getting an earlier gas as well, so the speed's going to be sooner, and if he decides the Baneling bust, that'll also, of course, be a lot sooner than NightinSeoul. And the lack of gas from Night is going to tell me he's going to take the hatch, and as you can see, wow, that's actually really nice drone micro. That's something you see from a Protoss player, right? Denying the Zerg hatch. Just being such a little terror right now. Finally, Knight gets it down, so that's going to be a 15-15. He should get a gas sometime after that, but it's just going to be so late. And, you know, Zavi obviously, of course, knows about the timing of the hatch. He can really say what he wants to do right now in return. He definitely has more information now. NightinSeoul has the same information, but what I meant by that was that Zavi, with the faster speed, is really going to be in control of this game for the first few minutes. It's going to be really up to Knight to defend, to scout, to make sure that, hey, is he going mass speedlings? Is he going speedling, baneling? Is he just going to try and catch up with me economy-wise? Which, these builds that they just did, not that different, not that much of an economical difference. It's not totally bad, but actually this Roachborn is actually going to really change that. This, if he's going to do some type of all-in, is obviously going to be a lot less economical than what Knight is doing, but as you can see, he's actually gotten 100 gas, Zavi that is, and no metabolic boost as yet, so I'm thinking a Roach Rush. That's what I'm thinking, and an Evo Chamber as well. This is super interesting. Not sure how well it's going to do on this map, though. I'm telling you right now that Roaches are pretty slow without that speed, and Daybreak's kind of a large map, and not to mention there's a, it's also a very, let's see, linear map. Is that the word? Is that the correct adjective? In that pretty much you know where you put your overlords, and they will see everything. You have to go, like, through hoops of flames to try and get away from the overlords that are on this map. I mean, if you wanted to, the Roaches would have to go, like, woo, over here. And even then, they'd be scouted by this one overlord. So there's no way that a bunch of Roaches are not going to be detected. Lane's coming in for Knight, actually taking out 1 drone. They might get 1 more, and they will get 2 more. So that is 3 drones down already for Zavi, who was already started with that little less economical lead. That is 4 lanes down, but with the overlord positioning, that Knight has the scouting for. He didn't need those lanes for scouting anyways, so I think that was definitely well worth it for Knight. He also saw the Roach, which is a really big indicator, so Knight knows that, hey, you got faster Roaches than I did. For some reason, still getting a Baneling's Nest. I think it's just going to be extra safe, precautious. You gotta always want a Baneling's Nest in ZVZ, I feel. They're always useful even later in the game for Ling run-bys, so you always want to have the option of getting like 1 or 2 banelings, so I think that's what it's for. But you should definitely be mindful of the fact that roaches are already out for Zavi. Finally getting his own Roachborn and double Evo Chambers, a 3rd Queen as well for extra damage and whatnot. And I'm glad this wasn't actually a Roach Rush. I think that would have been a very poor choice on this map and in this match up. Roach Rush is generally not a good idea. These are actually more of defensive roaches because he might not feel entirely comfortable defending bathing all-ins. It sometimes happens that you just don't have confidence in your banelings, or you just don't want to deal with it at the time. You're thinking, alright, I'm going to get roaches anyways. If I can get away with getting early roaches, because sometimes you can't. If there's a speedling all-in, roach is actually not that good against defending it. Then I'm just going to go ahead and skip the baneling, get medic ball boost later, and just go straight to roaches, which is apparently what he did. But actually no medic ball boost as of yet, and I think he's really going to regret it later. I would really like for him to get it, because in those late game situations in ZVZ, if this gets to the late game, getting like 20 lings is well worth the investment, because they can go around, they can really harass an opponent who only has roaches and infestors, forces them to get banelings and lings in return, and stuff like that. And without speed, it's going to be very hard to be harassed with slow lings. It's kind of embarrassing, really. Lings going in here right now, seeing everything there is to see in terms of scouting. Going to try and pick off 1 drone. They do get 1 drone, and then they're going to die. But they saw everything. They saw the Evo Chamber, they saw the Roachborn, they saw the lair. How many gases as well? He went with 4 gases. And Knight just saying, you know, okay, I see what you're doing. I feel comfortable getting a 3rd, and that's what he's doing. He also has 4 gases up, but it's not quite filled as of yet. But he also has the better upgrades right now. He's going to get +1/+1, while Zavi is only on a single +1. Thank God. I was going to say that he really needs to transfer drones, but he did. He was on top of it. That's why I really like casting these high-level players. They are generally like they're generally on step with the caster. If the caster knows what they're talking about, that is. I kind of just gave myself a compliment, but whatever, I deserve it. I'm going to give myself compliments all day. Hydra's then coming up for Zavi right now, but once again, nice scouting by Knight with this Overseer. It's going to die, so no contaminations later on, as cool as that is in ZVZ, but it's all I really need to see. This overload right here sees the 3rd, sees that it's so much later than Knight, and you know, Knight's down by 20 supply right now, but that's just because that Zavi has been kind of pushing out a lot of units, while Knight has really been relying on a lot of lings to do his scouting for him. It's currently 48 drones from Zavi to 54 drones of Knight, so that's what I was talking about. More units, army units for Zavi, but more drones and whatnot for Knight, so his economy, given time, is going to be allowed to, you know, just increase the farther it goes on, and he's going to be able to push out that huge swell of army that you love seeing from a Zerg player who's allowed to drone up as much as they want. And that's why, you know, Zavi's kind of in a bad position right now. If he had attacked a little bit earlier, or now, for instance, with a bunch of stuff, then he could have equalized the economy. But right now, he's given Knight a lot of time to say, hey, I got the drones, and they're actually going to be really effective soon. They're going to allow the surge of units, where suddenly this gap is not going to be a gap anymore. There's going to be 20 units from Knight with his increased economy, and he's going to be able to catch up really soon. He also had a lot of spine crawlers, which I'm not sure why. I think with that opening that Zavi did, he's been expecting an attack for a very long time, but only now is he confirmed that there is in fact going to be an attack with Hydralisk. Zavi, a fan of Hydralisk apparently, but it's not as weird in this matchup, thank God. You just see a lot of people go Roach Infestor, more so than just going straight to Roach Hydralisk, but both players are now. The fact is, though, is that Knight is going to have more Roaches. His Zag defenses are actually in the wrong position, so this could get really, really messy if it's not handled correctly. The army size is currently in Zavi's favor right now, so it's going to be very, very difficult for NightinSeoul to hold. And where is the huge swell of numbers here? Finally, 14 more Roaches, +2/+2 on the way, but definitely not going to be in time for this attack. And the Hydra's just ripping apart the Roaches. He has come from behind, but I don't think that was well timed, so they're kind of dying by themselves in bits and pieces, which is not what you want with an army. Knight still 30 supply down. That was actually a rather nice attack from Zavi, so attacking right at the right time. I'm really disappointed that Knight didn't have those 14 or whatever Roaches that he was producing as the attack hit him when it hit him. I really feel like he should have, but now he's paying for it. The third goes down. Did he save the drones? Yeah, he saved the drones, which is nice. He can always come back, but he needs to defeat this army first. And if the Hydras are allowed to live, they deal tons and tons of damage, and I'm not sure why Knight is bothering to fight away from the spine crawlers. He has 3 spine crawlers for a reason. There he goes, finally going back. They're really useful. And now just fighting in bits and pieces, so he needs to just take control of his army right now. There he goes, finally. 10 roaches on the way. Is +2/+2 is you're going to finish. That's going to be really, really helpful compared to the only +1 attack from Zavi. But he's just going to have such a hard time just holding out until it does. It has finished right now. A spine's helping out as well. 2/2 against only 1 attack is going to be really, really helpful. And he's actually going to be able to push back Zavi's reinforcements. Oh, and actually a rogue group of 5 roaches is also going to really help out. And I think he successfully pushed it back for now. The drone count for Zavi still, actually, he's been droning up just a little bit, enough to go ahead of Knight, so that's great for him. His economy is actually back, so he actually hit a timing that has hit right before Knight had that huge swell of units, and he's been able to get the economy equalized again. But now it's up to him to hold this counterattack from Knight. Knight up by 7 supply. This is kind of like the after effects of his economy, which is now pretty much shot thanks to that third not being there anymore. So he needs to do damage with this. This is where the back and forth really comes into effect. And if Knight waits too long, then the economy of Zavi is going to be too much, and the production of the units is going to be too much. So he needs to attack right now. As you can see, he's attacking. He doesn't like what he sees, though, when he's pulling back. Finally going back, though, he does have those upgrades, which he should really be mindful of, because that really, really helps him. And he's just ripping through the front of those roaches. Some of the Hydras not even helping right now. There they finally go, and it's going to be so difficult to tell who's going to win. Here we have the unit count. Where are all the roaches for Knight? There's some in the main. There they go. The queen has died. There's some just going ahead and killing a lot of drones, and he actually has cleaned up this attack at the third. So Knight in a wonderful position. And, well, what's producing 13 roaches right now, so that's really going to be helpful. I think with the 13 roaches, no, there's actually reinforcements coming from Knight right now, and no drones mining. As you can see with the pings, he had to split up his units to actually attack the force that was in his main. And there's Burrow as well. No Overseer in sight. This is going to be such a headache for Zavi right now. And he's going to have to also give up mining at his third. His economy is completely shot. Well, the third for Knight has finally come up again. Going to need to go ahead and Maynard some drones for that, but I think Knight has it. He's up by 70 supply. The economy is shot for Zavi. His drone count has actually dwindled back down below Knight's, and his army count just isn't there. And there is a GG from Zavi. And Knight as well. There we go. So yeah, very back and forth game right there. Pretty much Zavi had a little less economical, and then a little more less economical because of the roaches, versus Zavi's, or Knight's, pretty economical opening, and then the economical third. And Zavi waited, I feel, just a tad too long to try and attack.